How am I doing? Sound good? Okay, awesome. Look at this, they get better every time. The lighting's a bit better. I have my website in the bottom right. I fix it, I iterate. What can I say? This one I want to talk about. I just find it quite interesting because when you're an internet grandma, like I am, history has a tendency to repeat itself in ways that it's eerily familiar, some of the battles that we have. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Borderlands? The Borderlands game franchise. So Borderlands 2 has been out for years and years and years. And Borderlands 3 is coming out in mid-September. And so it's highly anticipated. Everyone's been waiting for a very long time for it. And guess what? There's a bit of a shit fight about it at the moment. Now, this is not, from what I can understand, it's not actually Gearbox or Borderlands 3 to blame. However, it illustrates some of the struggles that we've had over the years with between the idea of fans, how you work with them, how you treat them, whether they're an asset or an enemy. And this one illustrates a point that I've been wanting to sort of talk about the history about sort of Fox versus the internet, particularly with the Simpsons. And this one seems to be a good in for that because it's a current issue. So I'm just going to quickly tell you what's happening this week with Borderlands 3. To be honest, it's left a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth as well. And it's really kind of a shitty thing to do. To a loyal member of your fan community, and it happens so much. And if I can talk to any marketing people who have a fan base, don't do this. Don't do this. It's moronic. So for those who don't understand, again, these are quick videos. These are just me talking about things that I feel interesting to people. And there is let me just switch to my fancy new screen and let me show you this article. No, let's not do that. Hang on. What the fuck have I done? Hang on. This is me live, everybody. Hooray. You fucking idiot. Okay, so I work in tech. Totally a genius. No. So this one is upsetting for me because I actually follow this channel. And Take Two, or 2K, recently they've got a reputation for it. But this particular YouTuber I follow, his name is SupMatto, and he has been, he's a fan. He releases videos on YouTube, given that this is a 7-year-old game. It's been going for a long time. He's kept this community going. He's built, he's been, posting news and tips and hints, and there's an active Reddit community around it. Like any other fan community, there's nothing unusual about the Borderlands community that isn't, around any other fandom. It's the fact that they've decided to take down this one guy that I find very weird. And again, I don't have all the evidence. Obviously, they might have something that I don't know, but from what I can tell, this is just a really stupid thing to do. So this guy's kept a channel for many, many years, and at the end of last year, Borderlands 3 was announced, but there was some lead up to that. So there was some excitement and anticipation, and prior to the launch, there was a bunch of leaks, looking at things like SteamDB, doing all of that nerdy kind of finding, Easter eggs, and that's something, and it's worth noting that this is quite inarticulate of me, but one thing that the gaming community does, and one thing that Gearbox particularly have always embraced is this idea of just planting little clues and teasing the audience and, you know, putting secret codes in trailers and all of that sort of stuff. So it's really hard to know what fans are supposed to, in this context, it's very hard to know which leaks. I don't want to use leaks because leaks obviously are a different kind of thing, but what is deliberate and what is not, you know, was it for internal eyes only, because they really do like to just mess with people and build some buzz. That's good marketing, right? Building buzz with the fan community, getting them to speculate and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of history here. But what's happened is there was a Twitch channel that had some thumbnails on it. This guy saw said thumbnails. This is I'll put a link to a video that explains it in detail. This is like a really weird story, but basically he got access to some thumbnails on something that Take-Two didn't want released, and they came after this guy. So they had apparently been doing, because he's been sort of watching SteamDB updates, doing all the things that fans do. To be honest with you, I don't think that he's done anything particularly unusual if you're a fan. Just keeping an eye on things that he can, you know, do. But this is SupMatto. This is this guy. Basically, they sent in their goons. They have pressured this guy to shut down his channel. He shut down his Discord, which I found interesting, on a really weird technicality, which was that he was selling leaks for personal gain, which seems like a strange loophole because Discord works tightly with Patreon. And it's one of those things where I think if you're using Patreon and Discord together, I'd be a little cautious because it seems to me that they can lynch you on that thing, which is that you're giving patron only access to things. People pay you and you are then responsible for everything on that server. Anyway, so regardless of what that is, that's just a red flag for some content creators that might be doing that Patreon Discord stack. Now, so they shut down this guy, right? Sent in their goons. Again, not Gearbox. Gearbox have been known to embrace and have fun and tease the community. It's Take-Two that did this. And then this article gets published, which was basically a hit piece, saying that this guy leaked titles, which he didn't do, leaked stuff that he didn't do. It was all publicly accessible and all over Reddit. They seem to have made made an example of this guy, and it's very concerning. But what it does is it actually harks me back to it's just eerily familiar, which for those who are old like me, there were a whole bunch of, back in my day, when we were old, there were a whole bunch of Simpsons fan sites.
I didn't catch that.
I wasn't talking to you, Siri, you fuckwit. Okay. Sorry, my watch went off. So in the 90s, it was normal to have a fan site, right? And it's how you did things. And at the time, Fox actually, it's quite famous, but actually very hard to find media around it, which is interesting. But you kind of had to be there. But this website sort of summarizes it. But what Fox did was send a whole bunch of legal letters to, then teenagers. So if you had a Homer Simpson fan site, you had this is a list of all of the sites that were taken down, right? Look, this actually is in Flash. This is how old this thing is. It's great. But look, if you were a fan and you had a Simpsons website, no matter your age, no matter, no one was making money from this. You were just building a fan website and writing about stuff you loved. And it's worth mentioning that fans are the scaffolding of the current internet. Without the current internet, without highly engaged fans, we would not have anything like we have now. in terms of marketing, in terms of people's interests. Like everyone loves something, and the internet. This is the scaffolding that the internet was built on. And but back in 2000, Fox very famously sent hundreds and hundreds of takedown notices to people, to individuals, to take down their Simpsons websites based on copyright infringement. Now, it was very interesting because you might not be familiar with this, but the Frinkiac, and that was launched, some years ago. And I sat there and I was like, how the fuck is this thing up? Right? How do they get away with it? And I actually contacted them, and they said that they don't know either. And basically they said Fox have been silent. Given the history of this, which is that Fox had a very, very well-known history for shutting down fan sites, like we're sending lawyers, and to threaten young kids with a stupid fucking Simpsons GIF website. The fact that Frinkiac is still there, it's actually really interesting, because for me, the Frinkiac represents, when you know the history of this, it represents a victory where Fox finally decided that they finally got it. They finally understood that fans rule the world and that fans are good for your marketing. So for me, this whole Borderlands 3 thing, it's a real relic of the past, in the sense that I thought that corporations actually understood this. They understood that taking down or making an example of a senior fan in the community. Now, this is something that I know a lot about. When you know my history, I was a fan my career started as a fan who was given an opportunity by a celebrity and started building websites. That's my legacy. That's how things started. So I know this topic probably better than anybody, which is how the difference between how you either look after your fans and you see them and you value them, or you don't, and you see them as a threat, and you start using copyright or those stupid fucking hired goons and trade secrets and all those stupid legal things as a way to muscle in innocent people. Now, so the reason I find this interesting is because this poor guy just runs a fan channel, and he wasn't the only one that shared the screenshots. They were available. There was no hacking involved, as far as I can tell. There was no untoward. He's a good guy. He's been good. As you know, if you've watched the channel, you've seen that he is quite ethical in the way that he shares. He makes sure that he verifies things and does the right thing. He's been privy to some information that he didn't share up until the leak. But for some reason, they've made an example of him, and they've sent him a cease and desist. They literally sent private investigators to his house. Yeah. Okay, so he gets a knock on the door because of a video that he posted that had some screenshots that everyone knew about from a Twitch channel, where someone messed up or didn't understand how Twitch works, and he's now and they've gone and put copyright claims on his channel. They got his Discord channel, his Discord server shut down, and he has subsequently decided to stop. Right? He cancelled his Twitter account, and it's just not right. And this is something where I thought that this was over. I thought that using, the fact that that Frinkiac exists and Hyper Global Meganet still exists, which is a Simpsons meme, rock bottom, their shit post, like they're the worst Simpsons memes. The fact that GIFs exist, the fact that, we won. Fans won. A decade ago, it became understood that this was something that ultimately was good for marketing, and it was good for the community. And it builds trust and that relationship. And Gearbox get that. And that's what I find very, very strange, which is that this is not Gearbox. This is 2K, which is the publishing company, the corporate part. They handle all the corporate side of things. So this is a complete like miscalculation on their part to take on fans like this. And that has subsequently resulted in the hashtag boycott Borderlands 3, right? And again, this is stuff that might seem trivial or silly, but when when you've been on the internet as long as I have, and you've been a fan as long as I have, and you've run fan communities, you understand the gravity of some of this kind of move, which is this idea that you can use your unlimited, let's say pretty much unlimited corporate resources to pick on a fan, make an example of them, and it's just the height of arrogance. It's the height of not understanding the internet, not understanding how fans work. And, this might seem like a storm in a teacup, but it's actually just, if I'm going to give, I'm a marketing consultant, if I can give you any advice at all, it is to not do this. Do not piss off your biggest fans. Now, in this instance, I feel very conflicted about the way that they've handled this situation versus like the relics of the past with the Simpsons, with Marvel and Disney. Disney are another one. There's been famous cases of, the abuse of copyright laws to muscle innocent citizens that clearly don't have the resources to be able to fight you. And they back down. And it's just, I think in the current climate, it just reeks of just fucking lawyers gone mad and corporations going mad, and the internet just, no understanding of history with this stuff, and understanding that fans win, that fans do. It might just be a game. It might just be a silly game. It's an excellent game. But it's not just about the game. It's about the fact that when you have a fan community and you are trying to get them to buy your stuff, and anybody who understands the 1,000 fans principle understands that your most loyal and dedicated fans are the ones who spend the most money. There's a multiplier attached to a super fan in terms of income. So if the super fans tend to evangelize you. If you take them on, it's just not right. And also it backfires. So I'll be interested to see what happens, this is a AAA title. People are going to buy it. I'm probably still going to buy it, but because again, I wish Gearbox would speak up about this, but again, they're in a predicament where they're in a position where they're dependent on the corporation as well to do this. But one thing I'm going to say is that this has happened before, and fans win. The Frinkiac exists. Fox have tried and failed. Marvel have tried and failed. How many you can't do this. You can't control. This is the beauty of, in some senses, the beauty of capitalism, which is that people can actually choose to not give you their business as a result of the way that you conduct yourself. Whether or not this impacts the game, who knows? But I just think it's an interesting thing to point out. Again, it's, just a little thing where they pick on a content creator. RIP Simpsons fan sites. This was awesome when this happened, by the way. It was crazy. Yeah. But now you can basically get a screen cap from any Simpsons thing. They lost. And they'll continue to lose. And now take to have lost somebody who, you know, hundreds of thousands of, you know, how many views? 500, you know, a whole bunch of fucking PR, and one of their biggest fans is now treated like crap. It's just, this is bad. This is bad. Don't do it. If there's one thing I can do is to not piss off your customers, especially your super fans, the ones who will bring you more customers. 101. Like, anyway, this was just a dumb bonus thing, but I just wanted to talk about it because most people might not be aware of it. I'll put some notes down. Okay. Bye.